This is BJJHOOD, tapping into Jiu-Jitsu lives on and off the mats.
Hello, we are back. This is the BJJHOOD Podcast. I'm Babi, your host.
I'm Shae, your co-host.
We're here to share inspirational stories about women in Jiu-Jitsu, some insights, and we have new episodes every Thursdays. So make sure you are following us on YouTube. We will have subtitles in Portuguese there for all the interviews that are in English. This is an interview that's going to be in English. And the interviews in Portuguese, we're going to have subtitles in English. So make sure you are following us on YouTube, on Instagram too, so you can get some information on all the interviews that are coming up. And on your favorite podcast platform, of course, we are on Spotify with videos and with the subtitles too. We're on Apple Podcast, on YouTube again. So just make sure you are following us everywhere. And you know already, your support, it's really important. So make sure you are sharing the episodes, you are commenting and leaving your like there for us so we can bring more people and talk to more interesting people here for you guys. Today we have Alexa Yanes. She's a black belt from Texas in the United States. She is a dedicated practitioner of Jiu-Jitsu under Rodrigo Pinheiro. She has an impressive record of 47 victories and numerous prestigious titles. And she has particularly excelled in the Abu Dhabi and AJP tours. In the last year, she achieved a remarkable She achieved remarkable rankings ranging from number 1 to 3rd in the women's professional brown black belt light featherweight under 55 kilos. Alexa, thank you so much for coming and talking to us today.
Thank you for the introduction. That was very nice. I'm pumped up now.
I would be too.
So tell me, I want you to introduce yourself. How would you say who you are, and if you want to tell a little bit about your story, how you started Jiu-Jitsu, that would be amazing.
All right, so my name's Alexa, obviously. I'm from San Antonio. I was born and raised here in Texas, San Antonio. So I'll start from the beginning. So right after high school, I had this boyfriend that was like, yeah, let's do jiu-jitsu. And I was like, okay, I don't know what that is, but okay, whatever. So I had this boy, and it was like the jiu-jitsu was right next to our house. And I was just going to college, just going to work, like nothing like big after high school. I really didn't know what I was going to do. But I just we started doing jiu-jitsu, and then I really, really got into it. And I just got so much involved, and I knew it was going to be something. I didn't know exactly jiu-jitsu would bring me this far, like in life. And I have like this goal. I didn't think, oh, I'm going to do this with jiu-jitsu. I just knew like this is going to be something that I'm going to be able to utilize in my life, that whatever it is I want to do in my life, jiu-jitsu is going to be a way I can have something. But I didn't see the big picture yet. But I just trained. I just always trained up until white belt, blue belt. I always was motivated to train. I always wanted to do more, just like enjoying it. I genuinely enjoyed it. So it's easy to continue something, even if I don't, see everything in the future that's going to happen. It's still exciting to have. So, but right after high school, I started that, and then I just kept on with it through life, through white, blue, purple, brown. I always just maintained the consistency. Always competed, always more and more. I started getting more opportunity in jiu-jitsu. I started competing a lot more in blue belt. Of course, as the belts go, we get a little bit more in depth, a little bit more professional. So I was just consistently traveling, competing, and just finding ways and things to do in jiu-jitsu to supplement my life. And I've come to a point in my life now where jiu-jitsu is my life. I've just done always what it is I love to do, and just followed that path and always believed in it and knew there could be a path doing it. And now that's where I am today.
That's awesome. Did you see mark point where you realize, oh my God, this is what I'm going to do for my life? This is going to be my job as jiu-jitsu, or there was not a specific time frame, for example?
I feel honestly like there's been multiple times like in my life, I think like, okay, yeah, I'm going to do this. Like at blue belt, maybe I thought like, okay, yeah, I'm going to do this. And I've had pretty much every job off of jiu-jitsu I can have. I worked at the gym I train at. I work the tournament as staff. I work the tournament as referee. I'm a competitor. I go to win. I have sponsorship, so I have income in many types of aspects. So there's always I always think like, oh, I'm going to make a living out of jiu-jitsu doing this, and oh, I'm doing it. But then there's always something that always happens a little bit more where it's like, oh, I really am. Just when I how we learn jiu-jitsu, like, oh, you think you know jiu-jitsu, but then there's always something that you always learn. Even at black belt, there's still something you're learning. Just right now too, I always think like, oh, I'm living jiu-jitsu. But there's always something more that happens that I'm like, oh no, now I have my income through jiu-jitsu, or now I have my income through jiu-jitsu. But I mean, there isn't one specific point, but it's just always been consistently growing. So all my friends, all my I say my family because my husband, you know, we live in a household of jiu-jitsu. So now, I mean, there's no other way for me to think outside of jiu-jitsu. So I don't know when that happened, but at some point it did happen.
That's great. You're talking about your husband. Did you guys met in jiu-jitsu? I know who
Yeah.
he is, and I know he's a black belt, but who doesn't know she's married to another black belt competitor that it's really well
Yes.
accomplished too. Tell me how was like you guys meeting and getting together?
So it's funny. So I'll go back. So because I don't know if he's probably gonna watch this. So I'll just give all the details. So I mentioned that I started jiu-jitsu because my boyfriend after high school. So because by the time I was a white belt, we got our blue belt together, but I was so like on another level. Like I wanted to compete. I was blue belt. Like I was like, yeah, I want to compete. I want to win. I want to train. And I was more motivated at that point to train and compete than he was. So you know, that's a little high school thing. So okay, sorry, bye. Thanks for showing me jiu-jitsu, but I gotta let go. So blue belt, we broke up, and then I was blue belt, you know, for like a year or two, whatnot. And I was just competing, doing my own thing. I was just so involved in the community. I had so much support and team in jiu-jitsu, so I just was traveling and competing with them. And then my husband actually was my referee for my fight at blue belt. Before I knew him, I didn't know him. He wasn't my husband then. He was just a guy that, you know, just like a referee that was repping my fight at blue belt. And then I finished the fight. I submitted, so I think maybe that's why if I didn't finish, maybe he wouldn't be my husband today.
Oh, how funny.
So then we live in the same city. So that's how, of course, like you always see the same people. You always, you know, in your little community. At some point, he would send me little messages on Instagram, like DMs, replying to my stuff and little stuff. And I never responded, but at some point I did. But then I always see him. So then by blue belt, we started dating. Purple belt and on, you know, just got more and more. Then we always travel to compete. We always travel to work. So we just had that similar bond, that parallel. And then our relationship, of course, got stronger with jiu-jitsu. I got married at purple belt with him. And then that's when I switched teams, of course, to with him because we're in the same city and he's black belt and it just kind of happens to go that way. But it's been an awesome opportunity and everything I have in my life, I couldn't do without him. And he was a big guidance in my life. And now we're I say we're the same level, but you know, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you how is it like to train with him because I'm married to a black belt, and when I started training, he was a black belt already, and I make fun of him like, do you think any day I will pass your guard? Like, am I gonna be really able to do it? And he's like, yeah, I don't think so. I'm like, that's my life goal. I would do it, and I will record, and I'm gonna just have in our house like passing over and over again for you to watch it.
That's gonna be the highlight reel.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
but for sure, that's literally us. So, especially too, I think it gets even more like worse, like, because then that now we're both referees and we get so particular about points and so just like, no, that's an advantage, no, this and that. And we want to play so much on points, like, and then we literally start fighting about like how competitors and referees might actually fight in the real tournament. Like, we're literally like saying, like, no, like counting points. So it's like one level, like you're trying to roll with your husband, and then it's one thing you're trying to argue about points with your husband. So
Yes.
yeah, it's fun. I have to be in a good. We're the same. We can acknowledge when one's not in a good mood, and I won't even ask. I won't even look at him during training. I know when I can train with him, and he knows when he can train with me, just to avoid situations. But when we're both in a good mood and we can train and it's fun, okay, so be it. But I know when he's on a level or when I'm on a level, and just don't even look at me.
That's funny. Tell us a little bit about your transition to black belt. How was it? You had a different type of support, of course, having your husband by your side, and then you had to change schools. I imagine I don't know how difficult it was because you had somebody there that you knew already. You probably knew the team because you guys were together. But this transition from like brown belt into black belt, we know it's a huge step. How was it for you?
I feel really grateful because the way I transitioned was so like the best possible way. Of course, whenever you get a promotion belt, especially black belt, you never feel 100% ready. But I had been competing the Abu Dhabi promotion very much time ever since purple belt, brown belt. I've been competing in Abu Dhabi, and in that Abu Dhabi promotion, the AGP tour, they have brown and black female together. So the whole time I was competing brown belt, I was brown belt competing. I was already competing against black belts. So that's why I said I have nothing to lose. As a brown belt going to compete against the brown and black belts, I have nothing to lose. So I was so like, I had already done well against black belts in the promotion sometimes. And then too, I was already facing like the top female black belts as a brown belt. So I was just kind of thrown in there. So I knew when I got my black belt that it was something, I don't want to say I deserve, because in the moment it's like, okay, like you really don't ever think you deserve a belt, but like I felt good going into it because, like I said, I've already faced black belts. I've already faced the high level black belts. And that was, like I said, that was all at brown belt. So I was very happy and excited, and it was awesome. And too, with my team, when I was purple, I switched teams at purple belt. So it was just a different caliber. It was a different, and I was training with the top black belts, Nachieli, Manuel Hibamar, Thiago Macedo, my husband, of course. So very high level black belts who are very competition oriented. So that changed my whole view on competing. So come purple and brown, I'm already thinking like a black belt because this is who I'm surrounding myself with. So that was a big help in the long run as well.
Yeah. You had like a lot of things going on, a lot of fights, like you said, even at brown belt, because you were competing at Abu Dhabi. It's a different style, let's say, like that, than a BJJF.
Sure.
You can compete against black belts. Do you still get nervous when you fight? Like
Yeah.
you had some super fights. Like how do you
Yeah.
handle that?
Yeah, for sure. Even now at black belt, now it's still, my division is brown and black. So like I said, brown, I was a little bit more like, okay, let's go have fun. Let's go do this. I got nothing to lose. Now at black, I'm like, okay, now I gotta show up because now I'm facing the brown belt. So I gotta prove myself. No, but it's always good. You're always going to be nervous no matter what. You're always going to be nervous. I think my best fights ever have been when I'm like, and it's levels because I compete so much. I notice a difference. I notice sometimes I go to a tournament and I'm just kind of neutral. Sometimes I'm just like a little nervous, and sometimes it's like crazy nervous. And I don't know what it is, but like it's just random. Like I don't know. Sometimes it's a little tiny tournament and I'm so nervous. Sometimes it's this huge thing and I'm just like chill. So I don't know what I'm gonna feel in the moment of, but I've noticed that my best tournaments have been when I'm like so scared, like the most like nervous I feel. It's such an ugly feeling. I know it's what I always tell my students too, my girls, like, yeah, I know you're going to be nervous, and I know it's such an ugly feeling, but you need to feel that nervousness, because my best fights have been when I'm so nervous. It's like like an animal, like a deer, like so scared. Like you need that animal instinct, like that sense of like, oh, I just need to just go. Like I just need to let something out. Those have been my best fights when I'm so nervous. So you just got to accept it, and that's what it is.
Yeah, I think you were more aware when you were that nervous, like you
For sure.
you use the animal
Yeah.
comparison.
Yeah.
Like if you are so aware, like when you're too relaxed, you're like, yeah, whatever. Like your body doesn't really move, but when you're aware, like you're aware of every little movement, and you can just like work on that, right? Like
And
you
you
can
just
work
go. You
around
don't
it.
think, you just go, and that's what you need.
Yeah.
Like, and people, I think, try to avoid that feeling sometimes, but you need it. My best fights have been when I've had it, and as much as I try to calm myself down in the moment before the fight, I have to accept like this is what it is, and I need to utilize this to my best way.
Yeah. Do you listen to music or something, like to try to calm yourself down? Is there anything that you do, like pray?
Honestly,
I don't know.
yeah, I used to let the lower belts listen to a lot of music. Now since brown belt, black belt, I try to listen to music sometimes, but honestly, nowadays, I really don't listen to music much. It's kind of I say kind of a pray, but I kind of just like have conversation in my head. I just kind of talk. I talk to myself, and I talk to God, and just like, okay, whatever happens, whatever. That's my way of staying calm, just having this conversation. I feel like now, sometimes every once in a while, I might put on music, but I don't want to say it's distracting, because like, okay, it does help sometimes, but I can't hear my thoughts, and I like to hear my thoughts before going to compete. So that's just something I've noticed over time, something that just changed. I didn't even try to change it. I just did whatever in the moment I felt right. And it's just like over time, I was just like, I don't really want to listen to music. Like I just want to be alone in my head and have this conversation in my head. I want to listen to myself. I want to talk to myself. So that's what it's come to nowadays anyway. So whatever the day feels like, sometimes it changes, but that's the majority of the days.
Got it. And how do you handle the wins and the losses? Like, I know it's a completely different level being at black belt, especially on the biggest tournaments. Like, all the eyes are on you. At least that's how it feels like from outside. How do you handle, like, either when you win or when you lose?
I mean, at this point, no one likes to lose, of course. No one likes to lose, but I've come to the point where I've been around so long. The aspect of reffing too. I see like, oh, this fight was so good. This person did so good, but they lost. And so I try to put myself in that situation where even though I lost, there's still, I know it's cliche to say, but there's still little victories that I'm going to take from it. Like, oh, like the fact you gave him a hard time, or oh, the fact you did this. Like, there's so many people that walked when I'm reffing and I'm watching the whole fight and like, bro, that dude, I don't even remember the guy that won. I remember the guy that lost because of how he fought. So when I lose, I try not to focus so much on the loss, but on maybe how I fought. So if I did fight ugly or I did fight bad or I just fight out of my mind, then yeah, that is a loss that I do take to heart and I do kind of kick myself over because I know I could do better. But if it's a loss that, oh, I lost, but I fought the whole time or I did this and I did this, then I just try to use that as the motivation or use that as the fuel to onto the next one because I know there's a difference. There's not just one type of loss. There's many types of losses and the same thing. There's many types of wins. So the wins I feel is an obligation. I feel I try not to celebrate or stay too much on that. I will stay more on the loss, but I will easily continue forward after the loss as well because I like to examine it or I know how to dissect it and see what parts and pieces are crucial to my evolution of competing. So either way, I'm at the point too I compete so much it's just like I don't say whatever happens happens, but I'm going to make the most of whatever happens because I'm always going to have more no matter what.
Yeah. And you know that it's like the losses are going to happen. It's going to happen to everybody, you know, right? Even if you're on the streak of winning, like at some point you're going to lose. And that's okay. That sometimes maybe it's even good to lose sometimes and try to take from that and learn something from that and like work harder, you know, like I feel that when I lose every time on a tournament, when I get back to the gym, I'm hungry. Like I want to learn more. I want to like put myself more. I'm like I need to focus better. Maybe I need to eat better. So and when you win, it's like okay, like I did everything right.
Yeah,
of course,
yeah.
there's always something that you can improve, but the feeling's more like okay, I did everything right. Like I done.
I did what I need. Okay, that's it. Cool. I deserve it. Whatever. Bye.
Yeah. We wanted to ask you too about that UFC Fight Pass match that you had against Danielle Kelly a few years ago. What was this experience like to fight in a space like that? It's not the typical event that you fight. Did you feel that it changed anything in your career? Did it change anything for you, like going into the normal matches that you normally do?
That was an awesome experience. I've worked with Eric Garcia many times before. Eric Garcia is the guy that was doing a lot of the promotion or a lot of fights behind the UFC Fight Pass, and he has tournaments here in San Antonio. So that's why I think they sought me out because he recommended me, and I compete so much on his promotion. But I think they just needed someone to fight Danielle Kelly. But it was a funny situation because right before that was the year that they did Worlds in December. They did Worlds in December at BJJF because that was the year of the COVID, so all the schedule was messed up. They did the Worlds. They did the Worlds, and then they did Abu Dhabi Queen of the Mats in Brazil. And I had done those two events right before. It was like weekend after weekend after weekend. And I had done those two events right before the UFC Fight Pass. So I fought like the toughest girls. I fought Beatriz Mosqueda, Bianca Basilio. So I was like, bro, I already fought these girls. Like I know Danielle Kelly's good, but I don't want to put anything down on her, but just for the sake of my mind, for the sake of hyping myself up, I was just like, bro, she did not fight these girls. She did not fight these girls 2 weeks ago. And that's the caliber I'm fighting. So for me to go into this one, of course, it's no-gi. It was a different dynamic, but I was just so riding the wave of I'm on this level. This is who I'm fighting. This is what it is. So I just went in with that. And it was an awesome experience. I enjoyed. I love the promotion. I love how they took care of me. So it was something I didn't think a lot of people expected. It was a pretty back and forth fight. I feel like I did do enough to get the win at the end. It could, in my opinion, it could go either way, but I feel like in the moment, only the fighters know what was going on in the moment. And I feel like I did put a lot of attacks on, or I gave her at least a hard time, and I don't think a lot of people anticipated that, especially UFC fans, because UFC fans are more casual, so everyone knows Daniel Kelly, and I don't even think they realized who I was as much because I do mostly gi. But just the fact that I gave her a hard time, or I attacked myself, or I put on the pressure as well, was I'm always be grateful for that, no matter the outcome. Even if I, like I said, even if I would have lost that by the referee's decision, whatever the case, I still came out and showed, hey, I gave her a hard time. So it was, if that was a loss, you know what I mean? That would have been a victory in itself. Like, hey, I'm not just some girl that's gonna get freaking knee barred by her again, like one of her highlight reels. Like, so it was good. So, and I'm always gonna carry that in my mind. So it's the little things like that I maybe it's not the win. I don't like how I won, but I like how all the other little things that came with it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And I think something that you said too, it's funny when I have this in my mind, I feel that that's when I fight better. It's like, I'm not going to let this girl use me as her highlight. Like, there's no way this girl's going to win against me. Right? Like, no way. Like you said, I'd be fighting the best. I'm on the top 2. Like, no way she's going to get me. And I think that helps you a lot, right? Because if you get there with the mindset of like, oh no, I'm going to fight her, she's so good. Like, already putting yourself down, that's going to have some influence on your match. And when you hype yourself up so much, it helps. Like, even if you don't win, I think it gives you a better like fight, a better way to put yourself up there, right? I wanted to talk to you about all your travels. Like you said in the beginning, we were talking before even recording, you guys are always traveling, North America, Europe, Asia, Africa, Australia. Like, you guys are everywhere. What's your favorite destination so far? Like,
I always get this question.
That's a hard one.
And I never know how to answer it. I say many places for different reasons. I've realized. I think my most favorite places are a lot of historical places. I love history, so just to go to a city with a lot of I can tell like there's a lot of story, there's a lot of culture, there's a lot of feeling. Like, a lot has happened here. I love going to a place like that and feeling that. My top places, Istanbul, for that reason of the history aspect, and it's beautiful. Japan as well. Tokyo, it's just a different world. And the food, of course. Everyone's going to say the food about Japan because it's true. But there's a little place for different reasons. And then when I go to Brazil, I love Brazil as well. My husband's from Brazil, so every time we go, it's also like another like it's just a different vibe. Like, every place has, it's like people. Like, there's a bunch of people that you enjoy being around, but they're all for different reasons and they all have a different vibe. And I imagine cities now like people, like, oh, this person's like this person's like this. And it's funny once you start seeing and seeking out everything, you start appreciating different things for different reasons. So it's awesome.
Yeah. Is there like a favorite event, like a favorite city for this specific like jiu-jitsu event that you participated, or no?
It's hard too, because every time we it's for jiu-jitsu, of course, right? Every time we go, we're going to tournament, we're going to compete. So it's never like 100%. Maybe we have a day after the tournament, like we can just like enjoy, just walk around, do whatever. Because then the whole time we're cutting weight and we can't really eat everything you want, or you have to just stay consistent. You can't be too crazy. I think every event, no matter where we go, we just make the most of it. It's somewhere new. Like when we go to Japan, we're going to go to Japan, compete. Okay, the day just to go enjoy, and that's, to me, I don't want to say it's all equal. I don't have one specific favorite, but just the experience of doing the whole deal, being disciplined the whole week, competing, and then it's better if you win, and then you can enjoy more. And then that's my favorite ones, actually. If I'm going to answer it, that's my favorite ones. If I win, whatever place, and then enjoy, then the enjoyment's way better.
This past year, how many places did you travel to?
Oh, my husband counted. I give up. I think he said 12 or 13 countries. So it's 12 or 13 countries, but just depending on the cities alone. Because in I would need to count all the cities, because I mean, like, we went to Brazil, okay, but Brazil, we went to Rio, Sao Paulo, and Manaus, all the same. Because that's one country, but it's 3 cities. So I'm not even going to get into the cities.
Yeah. That's crazy. That's so cool.
Yeah. And you're talking about Manaus. I'm from Brazil too. I've never been to Manaus, but I know that a lot of the great fighters in jiu-jitsu come from that Amazon area. I don't know what they have in the water there, but it's like
I'll tell you what.
Tell me what it is, the secret.
Because I've trained in Rio and I've trained in Manaus. Okay, the difference. And I know in Brazil, I know all the gyms in Brazil, no one has air conditioning, no one has, whatever. And it's the same dynamic. In Rio, though, I can train. Like, and I consider myself a very, very fit person. If we train here, the other day I did 10 rounds nonstop. I'm fit. I say I'm fit. I can train. I'm not going to stop. I can train anywhere. In Rio, I did the same thing. I can train anywhere. In Manaus, it is so freaking hot. I'm not kidding. I can only do 2 rounds and I'm sick.
Oh,
I
wow.
could do 2 rounds and I have to sit. And this is coming from someone who's acclimated to rolling, like training. I don't take breaks. I run a lot. I do a lot of stuff a lot, but there's that, I don't know what it is they have over there that makes those people, they train, like, to be able to train in that setting. I think it's the weather, just that, like, because it's so heavy. And if you can train 5-6 rounds nonstop in that weather, I mean, you can train literally anywhere and do anything and have, because people say, oh, go train at elevation, whatever. No, it's the freaking rainforest humidity that these that's my only hypothesis that's the place, or the acai, the real acai.
That's what I thought you were gonna say.
And that too. I think that's so much like, okay, acai. I talk so much about the acai in Manaus that I feel bad bringing it up now because it's so like, okay, acai from Manaus, okay, but maybe that too probably.
Yeah, it's probably the two together. You finish all your 5-6 rounds in that weather that it's so hard to go, and then after you have your snack, that's your bowl of acai. That's gonna be
the
perfect.
combo, the power combo. But yeah, there's a lot of people from Manaus that are crazy on another level, and it is a different dynamic there. So
yeah,
it's awesome.
It's insane. You guys have been there for like a special project with Alan Nugeti Silva. Like, how was to be part of that? I mean, again, I'm from Brazil. I'm from the Northeast. I know there are a lot of places where people are not so fortunate as we are to train jiu-jitsu and to be able to afford the classes, afford the materials that are really expensive in Brazil. For people that don't know, like a gi there could cost from 500 to 1,000 reais, and that's a lot of money in reais. Tell me a little bit about this project, how it was to be part of it, and also if you guys have anything planned for this next year, 2024.
It's awesome. That was the first time that Thiago's always known him. Thiago's actually known him for a good long time, but I think he's just been everywhere. Every time we go to Manaus, he's just somewhere else too. But this was the first time that we were both in Manaus together. So he just kind of reached out and said, hey, like, Thiago, do you want to help us, you and your wife? Just a little summarize, show face, and kind of hype up the kids. Even before him, though, every time me and Thiago go to specifically Manaus, because that's just where he's from, we always have so many gis, so much stuff. So we always bring to the projects there. Thiago started jiu-jitsu at a project as well. So it holds close to his heart. So, and I just love being a part of it as well. It's an eye-opening experience. You see the gi, like the maybe if the kids have gis, or if the gis that they have, I mean, I've seen like totally like pants, like totally ripped up all the side. Like, I'm like, no one would like, but just the fact that they have pants, like, just like, I know it sounds like, oh, ripped, but I mean like literally like just hanging on. But that's the only gi that they have. Or I mean the mats too. Maybe they have a mat like this size, but all those little things that you don't realize make a difference. And these kids are literally here, just trying to get off the street, just trying to do better, show them a way. It is possible. I love that. I love going and especially the smaller kids that are just kind of out of their mind and just like they just like to fight and then like just go crazy. But then to give a gi or to be part of that, or like to show something like, oh, look, like, and now Thiago, every time Thiago goes to, like, he explains to them, like, I used to be here and now I live in the United States and I do all this stuff and this could be you too. And that's what I was actually telling the kids last time too, when we went there, that those kids in the project, even though they have, close to almost nothing, they're starting jiu-jitsu at 5, 6, 7 years old. I started jiu-jitsu at 19 years old. So I tell them, you guys are literally like 10 years ahead of me. Imagine in 10 years what I've done with jiu-jitsu in my life. What if you start now, in 10 years, you can have a totally different life. And by the time you guys are my age, 19, imagine the life that you're going to have then. If I could do this in 10 years, you're already 10 years ahead of me. Your life is, I wish I had that time. It is possible. So it's awesome to be a part of that. In the future, we'll probably reach out more with Alana as well. So always more, and whatever we can give. Every time we go, we like to bring a little something more for the kids or for whoever needs, and just to be there is always awesome.
Yeah, that's so cool. That's amazing. I love that.
It's an eye opening for sure. Coming from here and having, I don't know, like how's your gym here, but a lot of the gyms have AC, they have the best mats, people
For
are
sure.
always like smelling really good with their brand new geese. If there is a little rip, you're gonna throw away and get another one, and then you go from a place like that
Exactly.
where it's really hard to train, that you can't even breathe, and the kids are there on like a teeny tiny thing on the floor just to protect them a little bit, and they can still go for it. I think that's also another thing that makes them so good. It's like you come from such a hard place, you're not gonna let like small things take you down, like turn you down. Like you're gonna work really hard to achieve whatever you want, and then that's gonna make you a really good fighter. All that background, it's gonna help you too. What do you plan for your like next 5 years? How do you see yourself? How do you see your career? Like, what do you want to achieve in this next 5 years?
I like to be a person. It's funny because I like to be a person with a plan. I like to know exactly, like, okay, this is my goals. This is what I'm going to do. I just feel like I'm at a point in my life, and this has honestly been my whole jiu-jitsu career. Because 5 years ago, I wouldn't know or even fathom where I am now. Sometimes you think you know where you're going to go, but maybe you have an idea, but you just kind of let it take way. Of course, I have some little specific goals, but I just don't know exactly what time will give us. I mean, everyone right now, me and Thiago are a lot focused on competing, traveling, um, going for the rank, going for all that stuff. So I'll just continue that maybe for this year, and maybe in a couple years we always have the aspect of opening of a gym, so that's also on the table as well. Um, but it's kind of hard to give increments of exact time frames for us because we just kind of play by ear. But I've always trusted that no matter, I just continue to do what we love. We just continue to do what we love, and it's always just going to follow, no matter what opportunity. Everything that we have now has just been a random opportunity that just showed up because we did pursue something, because we did want to do something that, like, okay, well, let's do this because it seems good, because we want to do it, because our heart, because everything in us tells us let's do it. So when you have someone, especially on the same level, that like, yeah, let's do it. Yeah, let's do it. And then just stuff happens. So it's kind of hard. I like I say, I'm someone that has a plan, but when it's I feel like in this life in jiu-jitsu, I feel like anything can happen. And honestly, I don't know what's gonna happen. Just do what I just right now, just my mind is just to compete and train and have it at that. And then in a couple years, let's see where that takes us, because it's not going to be whatever I try to think of, whatever I try to plan isn't going to happen. So I just believe in what will will be the best thing.
That's
That's
great.
cool that you guys are like building an empire together, basically, within the world of jiu-jitsu, if you think about
For
it.
sure. And we have so many good uh support within our team as well. Like I said, we have Nachi and Hiba. They have their own gym as well. So we always have them to go collaborate with or go train with. It's we want to our to open a jump a gym, I think, is every jiu-jitsu black belt's kind of next step or big dream. Um, to me, for us, it's almost like, of course, a kid. Like once you open that gym, that's a kid that you have to constantly be there for as a baby. You got to take care of. You got to be there nonstop. That's your priority. You can't just always go out and go do whatever. So we know once we open up that gym, we would be giving up that aspect of our lives. And right now, this is like the best time to compete, the best time to go do that. So maybe in that 2, 3, 4, 5 years, I don't know, that's going to be the time to do it. But there's no rush for us either, because too, it's I think sometimes people want to open up a gym just for the money aspect, but right now I don't feel like if we opened up a gym, sure, we would probably make a lot more money, but to us, it's not about the money. It's just doing what we want. And when the time is right, then the time will be right. And then it's going to be even better because we did wait, because we did do it in the time that was more meaningful for us instead of just doing it out of the reason for money. So everything is in its right time, right?
Yeah. And I think what you said too, like you guys are on the perfect time of pursuing the athlete career. It's not, I mean, it is a long career. You can always compete in jiu-jitsu, and you can compete as a master at some point. Like you can kind of evolve as you get older. But I think as you are an adult, a black belt, and you are on the top, like that's the best time for you to keep doing that until either you achieve whatever you want to achieve, or I don't know, you feel that it's time to just like slow that down and focus on another aspect of your life. But you guys are doing so great on that competition. I think it's good to keep that like ball rolling, right? And then until whatever happens, maybe it's another opportunity that's gonna show up for you guys to open a gym, maybe, or I don't know, to move somewhere else, and then that might change your plans. But I think that's a great way to think of, let's enjoy what we have right now, enjoy this moment, like keep that going on, and then in the future we can might, I don't know, change that, and then you do have plans. It's just like
For
there's
sure.
no time frame for that to make that happen, right?
Exactly. Because we always say too,
This
oh, like everyone always asks, like, we're gonna live in San Antonio forever. But I mean, I think we are, but I don't know. So I have to be ready to change the plans need be if needed.
yeah.
Yeah.
This year, like what is like your main goal to do or accomplish?
I mean, just continue the wave of competing. Do another year successful. Maybe I'll compete less, but I'll just compete. Focus more on the big tournaments, the Abu Dhabi Grand Slams, IBJJF Pans, Nogi. Maybe I won't focus so much on the little ones. I want to be able to stay more at home. I think something I wanted to dabble into this year more, be more consistent, be more on top of is getting more involved in like doing some type of like I don't know, like videos or blogs for the travel aspect of it, because there's or being more involved in showcasing, hey, jiu-jitsu can bring this, even if you don't, even if you're not world
Yeah.
champion, even if you're not the biggest thing in the whole wide world, you can still make a life out of jiu-jitsu. There's many things jiu-jitsu is going to bring. Maybe I want to be more of a face. I want to try to navigate my role as a face of jiu-jitsu can bring opportunity no matter who you are. Even if you're not going to compete, it's still going to bring you something in life. I want to
Yeah.
probably do more aspects of media, or more aspects of just little different ways, social media and all that good stuff. Writing, I like writing. I like how do I say? I like putting stuff out there. I like creating. So, like I say, get more involved in the travel aspect of it, of showcasing some of the places I've seen, the places I go, and being more involved in the aspect of showing what jiu-jitsu can do for your life, being that inspiration or that role model for up and coming white belts or other people that are more, you know, not sure exactly, or don't know how to make jiu-jitsu a career or a life or something that they gain something out of. That there's more than just jiu-jitsu you're going to learn. Everything I have in
Yeah.
my life, besides, I've gained so much out of jiu-jitsu besides just jiu-jitsu. So this year I want to try to focus on showcasing that aspect more. So we'll see how that goes.
That's
I think,
beautiful.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's great that you say that, because that's another question that I wanted to ask you. A lot of people, I think it's starting to change in the last maybe like 4 years or maybe less than that. But a lot of people didn't see a lot of money coming from jiu-jitsu, for example. Like most of the athletes, they didn't have great sponsors. It was really hard to get sponsors, even, and when you did get, you would get sponsors for like uniforms, and that's it. Maybe you get a gi, maybe you get a rash guard, and I don't know, money coming from them and supporting the athletes. It was a hard thing, and this is starting to change. We see on your social media that you have really great big sponsors like Celsius and Gaidama. We wanted to understand, like, how was this process of you getting into getting those sponsors to support your work, and also, like you said in the beginning, that you had all those little like aspects of working with jiu-jitsu, being a referee, teaching, being an athlete, like how do you see all that around you? And also, like, you have the idea of like being a school owner in the future too. But it's like I wanted to that you talked a little bit more about it. Like, how do you get to get sponsors in jiu-jitsu and achieve those sponsors that are really big, and also all the other aspects of like working with jiu-jitsu?
For sure. And this is actually a question I try to explain to some of so we have like the lower belts that are kind of up and coming. I try to motivate them, me and Thiago both, like, hey, this is how you do it. Like, let's go. Like, so even when I was at blue belt, I didn't have anyone kind of to guide me or give me this direction so much, but I just kind of figured it out on my own. So around the time, since I was blue belt, purple belt, brown belt, I always had another part-time job. So I always did jiu-jitsu. I always competed jiu-jitsu. I always worked within jiu-jitsu, and I had a part-time job outside of jiu-jitsu, which was dog grooming. But a lot of it, so I'll get to the sponsorship aspect first, but the part that I want people to realize, or the part that I always try to instill in people as well, is you need a schedule. You need to prioritize your time. You need to see your whole week and say, I'm going to do this day, this day, and I'm going to fill in all the blanks. And I see, oh, I have these open blank. Okay, this whole time right here, I'm going to spend working. I'm going to work. I'm going to like the aspect of working for me is so important, and so many people don't want to do that part, or they just think, oh, I just got to train. I just got to train. Yes, you do have to train, but if the part is you're up and coming, you're blue belt, you're purple belt, you're up and coming still. You have to work even outside of jiu-jitsu. Sometimes that's the case. You just have to. And so, but you working, you're going to gain skills in other aspects that's not jiu-jitsu, but there's so many things I've gained in my jobs outside of jiu-jitsu that I use in jiu-jitsu, and I wouldn't be where I am in jiu-jitsu without having these real life skills. So you need these real life skills to be able to prosper and to be able to grow inside the sport, because it's not just training. It's how you carry yourself. It's how you maintain relationships, partnerships, connections, all that good stuff. So once you have a schedule and once you know how to prioritize your schedule, then you're going to be making the most of your time. So that's just been my whole deal since I was blue belt. So for how many years I've been doing that consistently, and changing my schedule as needed, rearranging it as needed. So now when the time comes now around brown belt, black belt, and I do focus more on jiu-jitsu, of course, I have these sponsors because why? Because I've been able to reach out to them, because I've been able to showcase, hey, this is what I've done, because I know how to communicate, because I know how to give my value is something of worth to them. I make myself a value. And when you make yourself a value, people want to work with you. I know a lot of people too. I see many times in jiu-jitsu that, and I'm not downing anyone, that they don't compete, or even if they compete, they don't win, but they still prosper and they're still doing so much better than some people that do compete and win. Why? Because they know how to sell themselves, because not in a good way, it's not a bad way. Because they know how to talk, because they know how to inspire people. And that's what sponsors are looking for. Someone who knows how to represent themselves. So if you don't know how to work on the outside, or aren't willing to build yourself to be someone who works, no one, it shows. You think like, oh, I don't need to work because I'm just going to train, but who you become because you work is what's going to make the difference in the long run. And that's, I think, the biggest thing that I try to tell people, or try to motivate people to do. But I know that part is kind of hard to convince someone to do, so I can't convince people to do it. But that's just an aspect of me that I think really got me far, that I got lucky with, that I do generally like to work. Like, even when I don't want to retire, I don't have in my mind I'm going to do a career so I can retire. I want to work, whatever my job is. I want to work until I'm dead. Work being something I have a purpose, I have a meaning that I want to do. So that's just something that you have to have in you.
Yeah, that's awesome. And when you do the other things in jiu-jitsu, like, did you start looking for refereeing, for example? I've seen you a lot in competitions, always refereeing. But it's something that you look for, I don't know, maybe when you just became a brown belt, when you were purple belt, like, when did you start taking that other parts, now the other aspects of working with jiu-jitsu?
I honestly, I say all that, and then it's funny because when it came time to ref, when I got my brown belt, because Thiago, of course, like I said, Thiago's been reffing since, forever, since I was blue belt and he was already black belt reffing. And then at that point where we're competing, and right as soon as I got my brown belt, he's like, okay, so you're gonna ref, right? And I'm like, I don't want to ref. Like, I just want to be the jiu-jitsu staff that just walks around with a clipboard and just yells people.
Yeah.
But no, but that's why you have someone, right, to push you. You have a partner in life to get you to the next level. So he made me do the referee course because he's a referee. So there's just way more incentive to do referee. It's better. It's more respected. People, and too, I appreciate now because people look at me in a different way than just someone who carries a clipboard. It's actually a prestigious thing. So it was. I blame Thiago because of that. Now I enjoy it. Now I really do like it. But I probably wouldn't have. It's hard, especially for a female. To just be an American female to be like, hey guys, can I ref? Like, and then I think at first too, everyone thought that I wasn't gonna stay long, but I kind of was forced to stay because Thiago always went. So I was like, okay, I guess I gotta go. Okay, I guess I didn't really have an excuse, or Thiago wouldn't accept it. So that's why
awesome.
I'm still here. But it's good now because I do it by myself now. So
that's awesome, and I think it's really good to have like you said, being at this figure of representation of a woman refereeing, because we didn't see that a lot before, and now we have more. And also an American So it's like you being there and being so consistent for so long, that might make people think like, okay, I can be like her,
Yeah.
like I can do that too, like I can put myself out there, do the course, and just, hey, I'm ready, I'm here, if you guys can and want, you can use me. Because I think it's really good for your jiu-jitsu too. You learn so much being a referee. It's probably
For sure.
scary. That's what I think. Like my husband said too when I got my brow belt. He's like, maybe you should take the course and like start doing at least small tournaments just so you can have that experience under your curriculum. But it's like, when I look from outside, I'm like, it's scary because it kind of depends on you a little bit, of you making sure that you are doing your job right. And especially if
sure.
it's a big tournament like Worlds, like if you do something wrong, that could cost that
Yeah.
person's
For
dream, you know? Like,
It's a lot
sure.
of social
For sure.
anxiety.
yeah.
For sure, for sure. And that goes back to the job aspect too. Like every job I've ever had, I try to think, what did I gain from this job? Even though refereeing is involved in jiu-jitsu, but there's so many things outside of jiu-jitsu that I gained from reffing. Just from, the outside scene, kind of one, analyzing technique, that being jiu-jitsu side, analyzing technique, a lot of things, a lot of strategic wise. I got my like being able to analyze jiu-jitsu, I got because of
Mhm.
reffing, but just being able to communicate with people, handle situations, pressure situations, maintaining calmness. Those are, attributes you have to acquire. You have to gain those. And I've always been kind of like a nervous person as well, or kind of like as a female, you're more empathetic too, or you want to try to lean one way, or you feel more emotional to one way. But I've been
Mhm.
able to, I like repping because it's been able to help me turn that aspect off and be a more analytical side of it. So I appreciate what repping has done for myself in that way.
That's awesome. Alexa, for 2 years in a row, you have been given the North and Central America Player Award. What does that mean? What does this mean to you? Like, how
It
do you
was
feel?
awesome. It was awesome. I love that AGP puts that out there because there's so many. It's one thing IBJJF, of course, everyone IBJJF very prestigious, but they stay so much in a lot of United States, of course, that when I do compete AGP, there's so many random people in AGP that I have no idea who they are, and I'm like,
Yeah.
bro, these people are tough. Like, and you would never know these people. So I'm like in random countries, Mongolia, Kazakhstan, like, who are these people? Like, I didn't even know Jiu-Jitsu was here. And so it's fun, like, to see all those countries come together and represent all the countries. Now I know all the people from on a worldwide level. Oh, these countries, this and this. So so in Abu Dhabi to win the North American best player with North America, the 2 years in a row now, is awesome because one, as a female, it's not the best North American female, it's the best North American player. So male and female, yeah, I received the award. So awesome.
That's
So
crazy.
and it's just fun the way they get you do the promotion, do the ceremony for you, appreciate like, hey, this is the continent, this is the continent, this is the continent, and for me to be a part of that and make it a big ceremony, make it a big celebration. It's not just like, okay, here's something, a paper and a diploma
Yeah.
or whatever, and here it is, thanks, good job. It's fun to be a part of something like that. It motivates you. Now, I'm motivated because something like that. I'm motivated to do it again because I know what came out of it. I know the prestige of it, and I want to do it again because of the caliber it represents. It was actually funny this past year, just in November, they did the ceremony again. They did the season ended in November for Abu Dhabi. And this was the first year that Thiago had became a citizen last January. So he's been a United States citizen 1 year now, but in November, when they did the ranking, he was competing the whole season as United States citizen. So we were saying, oh, me and him are fighting against each other for the
Oh,
number
no.
one North American, but I beat him. So so he was so like, yeah, I'm gonna win this year. I'm gonna be the best North American. Because I'm representing
Oh.
United States now. But it was me, so too bad.
That would
Maybe
be the
next
thing
year.
that I would be, yeah, and I'll be at home like, respect the North America first place. Where's my
She would.
breakfast? Yeah.
Every day she would.
I
Kaya would be like,
can you bow
stop.
to me? You gotta
He
bow
wanted to
to
take
me
a
now
picture.
because I'm the winner. Yeah.
I got the trophy. He said best North American player, and then he's like, "Oh, like come let's take a picture." It's mine
What is-
though, but okay. And then he
It's
even
like,
wrote
I'll hold it.
He even wrote best male North American player, best female North American. Okay, but it was really I'm the best player though.
I'm the number 1 overall, so you can get second, okay?
Yeah, you're the best male, but I'm the best
Yeah.
overall.
That's so funny. That's amazing. Alexa, thank you so much for taking the time and talking to us today. We always like to ask at the end, what does BJJhood mean to you?
I was able to look and I see the Instagram BJJHOOD. It was awesome. I saw so many females, so many newcomers and old school and everyone in all aspects of jiu-jitsu that you guys represent. So it's awesome to get that female voice out there. That we are capable of doing this. And there's many stories that our story is important as well. I love when it's not just like even to that you glamorize oh women, but it's just the fact this person, me as a person, my story is valuable as a person. So I love that our stories are about anything and everything that we have to say. It's not just how women affect the difference or how girls are, whatever difference we have that's separating us from the men. It's our story in jiu-jitsu, and that's it. It's me as a person, as an individual. So I really appreciate and I really love that aspect that you guys have been able to bring that to the table and make it interesting for the viewers and make it something exciting and well thought out and thorough, and it's an awesome thing, and I love to be a part of it. So thank you very much for having me.
Thank you.
We appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Yes,
Awesome.
It was amazing having you here today. I hope you have a really good year competing. Maybe we'll see you around. Maybe we're gonna have you back here when you accomplish more this year. Let's see what are the next steps.
If you see me anywhere, wherever we end up, let me know, and then we can take a selfie and all that good stuff.
Yeah. Awesome.
I'll be a fan.
For you that are listening to this episode, make sure you share with your friends so people can learn a little bit more about Alexa's story and learn a little bit from her experiences too. Make sure you follow us on Instagram and YouTube so you don't miss any episodes. We're there as BJJHOOD Podcast, and also follow us on your favorite podcast platform. We'll be back next Thursday. See you. Bye.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening. Would you like to share your story? Email us at bjjhoodpodcast@gmail.com. You can also follow us on Instagram at BJJHOOD Podcast.